In this video, we are going to cover .NET interview question. If you're preparing for technical interviews, stick around. This will help. What is .NET? .NET is a free, open-source developer platform created by Microsoft. It is used to build many types of applications, such as web apps, mobile apps, desktop software, cloud services, and APIs. One important thing to understand is that .NET is not a programming language. Instead, it is a platform that supports multiple languages like C#, F#, and VB.NET. What is .NET Framework versus .NET Core versus .NET? .NET Framework is the original Windows-only implementation. .NET Core is a cross-platform, open-source, modular rewrite with a single unified toolchain and BCL, or base class library. What is the CLR, Common Language Runtime? When you build a solution, the .NET compiler converts your code into IL, then packages that IL plus metadata plus manifest into an assembly, which is the .dll or .exe file itself. The CLR is the execution engine of .NET. It handles running applications by providing services, memory management, garbage collection, exception handling, type safety and security, just-in-time JIT compilation, thread management, security, code access security, or CAS. What is JIT compilation? Just-in-time, or JIT compilation, is the process of converting MSIL, Microsoft Intermediate Language, into native machine code at runtime for execution. This combines the portability of IL with the performance of native code. What is CTS, Common Type System? The CTS defines a standard set of data types and how they are declared, used, and managed in the CLR. This ensures that objects written in different .NET languages, like C# and VB.NET, can interact with each other. For example, an int in C# and an integer in VB.NET are both represented as system.int32 in the CTS. What is CLS, Common Language Specification? The CLS is a subset of the CTS. It defines a set of rules and standards that .NET languages must follow to ensure they can seamlessly interoperate. This guarantees that code written in one compliant language, for example C#, can be used by another compliant language, for example F#. What is the base class library? The BCL is a comprehensive collection of reusable classes, interfaces, and value types that provide a wide range of functionalities. This includes everything from fundamental data types, int, string, file I/O, database connectivity, ADO.NET, and XML parsing, to networking and security. When you build a solution, the .NET compiler converts your code into IL, then packages that IL plus metadata plus manifest into an assembly, which is the .dll or .exe file itself. What are assemblies in .NET? An assembly is the fundamental unit of deployment and versioning in .NET. It is a compiled code library, either a .dll for libraries or .exe for applications, that contains IL code, metadata, manifest, and optionally resources. There are three types of assembly: private, used by a single app; shared, stored in the GAC for multiple apps; and satellite assembly, resources only for localization. .dll is the assembly, and .resx is a file which is an example of satellite assembly. What is memory leak in .NET? .NET can leak memory when objects remain referenced via static fields, event handlers, unmanaged resources, or undisposed timers. GC can't collect what's still referenced. What is the difference between namespace and assembly? Namespace is a logical naming container for code organization. Assembly is a physical file on disk. An assembly contains multiple namespaces, and a namespace can be split across multiple assemblies. They're orthogonal concepts. What is managed code and unmanaged code? Managed code is a code whose execution is directly managed by the CLR. Garbage collection is the CLR's automatic memory management process. It automatically reclaims memory occupied by objects that are no longer accessible by the application. This prevents memory leaks and frees developers from manually managing memory. Unmanaged code is a code that is executed directly by the operating system, outside the CLR. Examples include Win32 C++ DLLs. Unmanaged code requires the programmer to manually manage memory and security. What is garbage collection in .NET? The .NET GC uses a generational model to improve efficiency. It divides objects into 3 generations. Gen 0, short-lived objects, for example, local variables. Most collections occur here. Gen 1, a buffer between Gen 0 and Gen 2. Gen 2, long-lived objects, for example, static data, objects that survive multiple cycles. Objects that survive a collection are promoted to the next generation. What is IDisposable used for, and when should you implement it? The IDisposable interface is used to provide a mechanism for deterministic cleanup of unmanaged resources, like file handles, database connections. A class implementing IDisposable must provide a dispose method that a developer can call to release these resources immediately, rather than waiting for the garbage collector. What is finalization, and how does it differ from dispose? Finalization is a backup cleanup mechanism the GC calls before reclaiming memory, but it's non-deterministic, slower, and only for unmanaged resources. What does the using statement do in .NET? The using statement guarantees dispose is called on IDisposable objects, even if an exception occurs. It is the recommended way to handle disposable resources. The difference between value types and reference types. Value types store their data directly on the stack. When assigned, a copy of the value is created, e.g. int, struct, enum. Reference types store a reference to their data, which is on the heap, on the stack. When assigned, only the reference is copied, not the actual object, e.g. class, string, array. In upcoming videos, we'll cover C#, OOP, data structures, and SQL interview questions. If you find this helpful, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. Also, let me know your questions or topics in the comments. I'd love to cover them in the next video.